David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight we have breaking news on this Friday night. ABC News obtaining new video. What played out in the moments before that deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis. The video recorded by the ICE agent himself. Renee Good smiling behind the wheel as ICE agent Jonathan Ross circles her SUV. Agents telling Good to get out of the vehicle. Ross firing 3 shots as she tries to drive away. Moments later, crashing into several parked vehicles. Tonight we'll take you frame by frame through this new video. Whit Johnson standing by in Minneapolis. Also breaking tonight, U.S. forces seizing a new oil tanker in the Caribbean. The Navy and Marines boarding the ship as President Trump meets with the CEOs of American oil companies about Venezuela. The president making the case that the American companies will fix it all, and then Venezuela, the U.S., and the American oil companies will divvy up the money. Tonight, we are monitoring the unfolding situation in Iran. The alarming images coming in at this hour. The biggest protests there in decades. Cars, government buildings set on fire. What Iran's supreme leader is now claiming tonight, and what President Trump is now warning. Martha Raddatz is here. In New York City, CEO murder suspect Luigi Mangione in federal court, fighting to keep prosecutors from seeking the death penalty. The new turn in the murders of a dentist and his wife. Authorities now say a police officer responding to a wellness check on that couple went to the wrong house before their bodies were discovered. And tonight, hear the 911 call from a neighbor days earlier, reporting someone pounding on her door in the middle of the night. Tonight, the American woman killed in a horrific shark attack in the U.S. Virgin Islands, what we've learned. We're also tracking severe weather, widespread thunderstorms and possible tornadoes, and the system moving into the Northeast this weekend. Lee Goldberg is here. What we now know about that chaotic scene near Las Vegas. Police say officers opening fire on a suspect in a stolen front loader as he was driving right over police vehicles. Tonight, we have the new and alarming numbers on the flu in this country, what the CDC is now seeing. And you met them right here this week. Their strength, their perseverance. Who are our persons of the week?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with the breaking news. ABC News now obtaining new cell phone video of the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis. The video taken by the ICE agent who pulled the trigger. The video shows what played out in the moments before the shooting, the interaction between that mother of 3 in that SUV, Renee Good, and ICE agent Jonathan Ross. Renee Good seen smiling behind the wheel as ICE agent Ross approaches her, telling him, quote, "I'm not mad." Her partner standing outside the vehicle holding her own phone, exchanging words with that officer. Then the moment the driver turns and appears to try to pull away, the officer's phone capturing that moment as well, then opening fire, shooting 3 times, killing Renee Good. She was shot in the head. Good's SUV then appearing to accelerate a short distance down that street before crashing into multiple parked cars. Tonight, Vice President J.D. Vance doubling down on his defense of the agent, and our team showing the ICE officer's video to the mayor of Minneapolis. Whit Johnson leading us off with these new images. He's in Minneapolis again tonight.
Tonight, new video that ICE agent Jonathan Ross recorded himself, showing the disturbing moments when he opened fire on Renee Good. The clip begins with Ross approaching the vehicle. You can see his reflection in the window and hear Good tell him she's not mad.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. It's okay. We don't change our plates every morning.
Good's partner Becca recording too as he checks Good's license plate.
That's fine.
Then Ross continues around the vehicle, walking in front of it when another officer says, "Get out of the car."
I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car.
Becca Good tries to open the passenger door. As Renee turns the wheel, there's a sound as the camera points downward. And about 1 second later, Ross, who stays on his feet, opens fire. Some experts say agents are trained not to stand in front of a vehicle.
You never get in front of the car, and you never get in back of the car either. But I will tell you, when training and tactics come in, there's something called adrenaline. And adrenaline pumps you, and you want to make moves.
Vice President J.D. Vance, who has called Good's death a tragedy of her own making, sharing the new video on social media, writing of the agent, "Many of you have been told this law enforcement officer wasn't hit by a car, wasn't being harassed, and murdered an innocent woman. The reality is that his life was endangered and he fired in self-defense." We showed the new video to Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry.
He walked away with a hop in his step from the incident. There's another person that's dead. He held on his cell phone. I think that speaks for itself.
Does that video, that angle, change your perspective at all about what may have happened?
I think an investigation could change or affirm my perspective. But we've got all two eyes. And I can see a person that is trying to leave. I can see an ICE agent that was not run over by a car. That didn't happen.
A frame-by-frame analysis of multiple videos obtained by ABC News shows Ross fires the first shot at 9:37:13 a.m. About 0.4 of a second later, the second shot strikes Good. Then a third shot just 0.3 of a second after that. Officials say last June, Agent Ross was dragged 100 yards during another immigration vehicle stop and needed 33 stitches. DHS says this is video from that incident. The vice president highlighted it when defending that agent in the White House briefing Thursday.
33 stitches in his leg. So you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile?
The FBI is leading the investigation, but in a rare move, not working with local authorities, who say the FBI has seized all evidence, including Good's vehicle.
What happened is the FBI basically kicked them out. They blocked them out of critical evidence. And
how unusual is that?
As far as I can tell, extraordinarily unusual.
Overnight, more protests in Minneapolis. Demonstrations also erupting in Portland, Oregon, after 2 people were shot by a Border Patrol agent. Authorities say the man and woman were affiliated with the Tren de Aragua gang, involved in a recent shooting, and the driver allegedly tried to run them over. Portland police say they learned of the shooting after a person in the truck called 911 about 40 blocks from where the shooting happened.
Portland is not a training ground for militarized agents.
And back in Minneapolis, as protests continue, the Department of Homeland Security is sending up to 100 more agents to the city on top of the some 2,000 already on the ground.
And David, Renee Good leaves behind 3 children. In a statement, her partner Becca saying in part, Renee was made of sunshine and lived by an overarching belief there is kindness in the world and we need to do everything we can to find it. Meanwhile, despite the outcry, DHS is continuing its operations across Minneapolis. David.
Whit Johnson leading us off here again tonight. Whit, thank you. This evening, U.S. forces seizing a new oil tanker in the Caribbean. The images coming in, the Navy and Marines boarding the ship. It comes just days after the military operation, of course, taking Nicolas Maduro and his wife out of Venezuela. This new seizure of another tanker comes as President Trump tonight meets with the CEOs of American oil companies about Venezuela. The president today making the case that the American companies will fix it all, and then Venezuela, the U.S., and the American oil companies will, in his words, divvy up the money. Rachel Scott at the White House.
Tonight, just 6 days after Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro arrived in New York to face trial, President Trump convening top oil executives at the White House to talk about divvying up Venezuela's oil, hoping to strike a $100 billion deal to rebuild the industry in Venezuela.
We have to get them to invest, and then we have to get their money back as quickly as we can, and then we can divvy it all up between Venezuela, the United States, and them.
The president making this pledge to the CEOs.
And you'll have total safety, total security.
The president did not say whether American troops would provide that security.
We're going to work with the Venezuelan leaders and people, and we're going to have a very safe group, and they're going to also bring over some security with them. You know, these are not babies.
Some of the CEOs, like Exxon chief Darren Woods, not sounding ready to commit.
We've had our assets seized there twice, and so you can imagine to re-enter a third time would require some pretty significant changes.
It's been less than a week since President Trump declared he was running Venezuela. Now the president escalating his threats to take Greenland by force from our NATO ally Denmark.
I would like to make a deal, you know, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Tonight, President Trump even questioning whether Greenland actually belongs to Denmark.
The fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land.
So today, the United States seizing its 5th oil tanker in the Caribbean. The president wants these oil executives to invest $100 billion towards rebuilding Venezuela, but many of the execs that we heard from in that room were not ready to get on board just yet, given just how unstable Venezuela is, David.
Rachel Scott back with us tonight. Thank you, Rachel. Now to the alarming images coming in from Iran tonight. The biggest protests there in decades. Cars and government buildings set on fire. What Iran's supreme leader is now claiming tonight, and what President Trump is now warning. Here's Martha Raddatz.
Tonight, violent protests intensifying across Iran as demonstrators risk death to defy a new warning from the supreme leader of an imminent crackdown. In the biggest anti-government demonstrations in years, crowds setting cars and government buildings on fire in Tehran and other major cities. Videos posted on social media show the violent escalation of the protests. Armed men seen opening fire in the street. Shocking video showing a man using a flamethrower against an officer. Some protesters chanting death to the Ayatollah, blasting the regime over Iran's failing economy and devastating inflation. The government cutting the internet in an attempt to stop people from organizing. Tonight in Tehran, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei saying protesters are destroying their own country to just, quote, please the U.S. president. Late today, President Trump making clear he is siding with the protesters.
I tell the Iranian leaders, you better not start shooting because we'll start shooting too.
Dozens of protesters have been killed, thousands more arrested, according to human rights groups. And David, tonight, President Trump saying his threat to Iran that we would start shooting if Iran killed protesters did not mean boots on the ground, but, quote, hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. David?
Martha Raddatz live in Washington. Thank you, Martha. This evening here, the new turn in the murders of that dentist and his wife. Authorities now say a police officer responding to a wellness check on the couple went to the wrong house before their bodies were discovered. And now the 911 call from a neighbor days earlier reporting someone pounding on her door in the middle of the night. Here's Rhiannon Alley.
Tonight, new body camera video showing police in Columbus, Ohio doing a wellness check at the wrong house about an hour before dentist Spencer Tepe and his wife Monique were found shot to death inside their home. The officer getting no response.
Anybody home?
Chief Elaine Bryant telling our affiliate WSYX.
That officer, unfortunately, went to the wrong location initially as it related to that wellness check.
A concerned friend going to the couple's house after the dentist didn't show up for work and then calling 911. Then friends spotting the husband in the bedroom in a pool of blood.
There's a body.
Police releasing surveillance video of a person of interest seen near the home between 2 and 5 a.m., the time frame of the murders, according to police. And tonight, ABC News obtaining this 911 call from a home on the same block as the Tepe house made 11 days earlier. In the same period of time, police believe the couple was killed.
Somebody's knocking on my door. I think they're trying to get in. They're banging on my door.
Okay, someone's banging and knocking. Do you know who this is?
No.
Columbus police tell ABC News at this time they have no indication that that phone call is connected to the Tepe investigation. David, authorities are still collecting surveillance video from the area, and police don't know if the Tepes were targeted or if this was a random act of violence. David?
Rhiannon Alley reporting tonight. Rhiannon, thank you. Here in New York City, CEO murder suspect Luigi Mangione was in federal court today, fighting to keep prosecutors from seeking the death penalty against him. His attorneys arguing the case is legally flawed. Mangione has pleaded not guilty to charges that accuse him of stalking and murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. His lawyers are also fighting to stop federal prosecutors from using items police had seized from his backpack as evidence. The judge says Mangione's trial could start by the end of the year. Tonight, we have learned an American woman was killed in a horrific shark attack in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Here's Victor Oquendo.
Tonight, this Minnesota woman killed after suffering a shark bite while swimming in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Police receiving multiple reports of a shark bite at Dorsch Beach on St. Croix just before 4:30 Thursday afternoon. First responders indicating the woman lost her arm in the attack and later died.
I was in my hotel room and I heard screaming coming from the beach.
Nurse Christopher Carroll telling local media he was among the bystanders who raced to bring the woman to shore and render aid.
I saw a large amount of blood in the water, and then I realized that it was some kind of a shark attack. They got her out of here as fast as they could, but I was just told that she didn't make it.
Authorities identifying the victim as 56-year-old Minnesota resident Arlene Lillis, loved ones remembering her adventurous spirit.
She loves snorkeling. She loves to be in the water. That's her thing. That's what she loves about this island.
The governor of the Virgin Islands thanked those bystanders who rushed in to help and said his heart goes out to the victims' loved ones.
David? Just an awful story. Victor Oquendo. Thank you, Victor. Tonight we're also tracking severe weather, widespread thunderstorms, possible tornadoes, and the system then moving into the northeast this weekend. Flood watches spanning multiple states at this hour, stretching from Louisiana to Tennessee. Several tornadoes touching down in Oklahoma and Mississippi in the last 24 hours. Homes and buildings badly damaged. That rain then moving up the East Coast tomorrow. So let's get right to WABC Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg, back with us again tonight. Hey, Lee.
David, dangerous situation. Louisiana, we've had multiple tornado warnings and a serious flood situation south of Birmingham, Alabama. The severe threat from Texas all the way over to Mississippi and Alabama this evening, but that morphs into more of a flood threat during the overnight with drenching downpours. We've had 3 tornado reports over Mississippi. That heavy rain is going to spread northward all the way up to the mid-Atlantic, D.C. and Atlantic City getting soaked tomorrow, even here in New York City by afternoon. You see those flood warnings down south. We could get up to an inch in New York City, an inch or 2 in D.C., but up to 4 inches in the south. On the cold side of the storm, several inches near Chicago. We might see some flakes at the Bears-Packers game. David.
We'll look for that as well. Lee Goldberg tonight. Thanks. To the economy now, the U.S. adding just 50,000 jobs last month, signaling slowing job growth. 2025 was the worst year for hiring since 2020. Unemployment at 4.4%. Many analysts believe the Fed, though, will see no need now to cut interest rates, at least for now. The Dow ending the week on that news, a record high, gaining 237 points, closing at 49,504. When we come back on this busy Friday night, the new and alarming numbers coming in on the flu, what the CDC is seeing. Also ahead, and this is disturbing here, these images coming in tonight, an explosive device thrown at the head of a lawmaker. We'll have more on her condition here in just a moment. And then look at this. We are learning more this evening about that chaos that unfolded. The suspect in a front loader driving over police vehicles, police then opening fire. A lot more news ahead. We'll be right back here. Tonight, the disturbing video of a Honduran lawmaker being targeted, an explosive device thrown at her head just as she was about to address reporters. That lawmaker remains hospitalized but is in stable condition tonight. Several other lawmakers suffering minor injuries. It comes amid rising tensions there after their disputed presidential election. Back in the U.S. tonight and near Las Vegas, we're learning more about that wild rampage at a construction site. Police say a suspect stole a 39,000-pound front loader and drove over 2 patrol cars with it. Officers opening fire after they say the suspect refused to stop. That suspect hit twice by gunfire, now out of the hospital tonight facing multiple charges. When we come back here in the broadcast, the new and alarming numbers just in tonight on the flu and what the CDC is reporting about young children tonight. And you met them right here, who are our persons of the week. To the index of other news tonight, new numbers this evening on this surge of flu cases from the CDC across the country. 15 million cases so far this season, with children being hit especially hard. More than 40 states now reporting high or very high flu cases. Walgreens tonight saying demand for at-home tests and medicines increasing 155% in just 3 weeks. Tonight, a new study warning of a potential link between common food preservatives used to extend the shelf life of deli meats and some cereals and cancer. Researchers found consuming the preservatives used in foods like deli meats, bacon, breakfast cereal is associated with a higher risk of developing cancer. They say the study shows an association with developing cancer, but not proof that preservatives directly cause cancer. When we come back on this Friday night, we promised to go back, and what we found was quite something. The strength, determination. Who is our person of the week? Finally tonight, this week, we went back. The California fires 1 year later. The strength of so many.
Returning to California 1 year later, we were moved by the strength of the people who lived through those fires. Alessandro and his family, who are not rebuilding.
I know that you all have been through a lot. It's been a real test, but I'm glad you're all still doing okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And you still got a smile.
Yeah, that's we need to keep going.
Liz Jones, determined to rebuild, where she and her husband raised their family.
I was born and raised here. I love this town and I believe in it and I want to see it come back, and so that's why I'm rebuilding.
And Preston and Kelsey Hayes, who told me they are determined to show their children 2 and 4 what it means to keep going.
As a family, we want to show our kids that we can overcome hard things. And as a family and just in life, you can, go through hard things and we can overcome it together.
Yeah. And you're about to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
On our way.
Our Persons of the Week. I'll see you right back here on Monday. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 3rd year in a row.